and jump.
Bericht 1.2 des Schiffsingenieurs. Nach dem Verlust der Klesan und ihrer Wissenschaftler untersuchen meine Ingenieure jetzt die Invasionseinheit, der wir den Decknamen die Bestie gegeben haben. Die Bestie scheint Raumschiffe mit einer Art Partikelstrahl zu kontaminieren, der sein Ziel mit technoorganischen Robotern überzieht. Sobald diese Bots auf eine ihrer eigenen strukturähnliche Oberfläche treffen, absorbieren sie das Material und dringen in die Zielstruktur ein. Treffen sie auf organische Materie, bauen sie damit ein neuronales Netzwerk auf und übernehmen so die Kontrolle über das Schiff. Jede einzelne Bestienzelle funktioniert wie ein biomechanischer Virus. Sie kann lebende Zellen in ähnlicher Weise benutzen und unterminieren, wie sie es mit nicht-organischer Technologie tut. Weitere Untersuchungen sind nötig. Aber wir sind Ingenieure, keine Biologen. Eine Analyse des Infektionsangriffs deutet darauf hin, dass die Bestienpartikel über den Plasmastrahl auf der Oberfläche des Zielobjekts verteilt werden. Die Energiestruktur des Strahls erlaubt ihm, von Ziel zu Ziel zu springen. Die Infektionsrate pro Schuss scheint von der Masse des jeweils getroffenen Schiffs abzuhängen. Weitere Analysen sind nötig, wenn wir ein Gegenmittel für diesen Strahl entwickeln wollen.
So, and we're back. We're searching for the Bentusi, known to all who have ever played Homeworld. Free traders, mysterious aliens, superior technology, ancient. Practically all the cliches you can think of. And yes, I'm Libluini, and we are back with our casual let's play of Homeworld Cataclysm. And now it has been 2 months, and I'm sorry about this, but at least you'll get a double episode this time, because this mission will take a while. Far too long to torture you with in a single video, so I will just split all this shit. Here I'm trying to remember what exactly is what here, because I have not played this for over a month, and I'm finally remembering to build a refinery. Fuck, how? What is it called in English again? Let's just look it up for a moment here. Oh, refinery. Okay, so I just botched the pronunciation. Okay, so I finally remember to build a refinery ship, because a refinery ship can be stationed off somewhere near some resource spots, and then your worker ships don't have to actually travel all the way back to your command ship. They just unload on the refinery ship, and magically all the resource units will be transported to your total on the right side of the screen. So our mission now is to make contact with the Bentusi ship we think we have found on our scanner systems, but obviously shit will hit the fan as soon as we make contact, so instead we'll just guzzle down all of the resources we have here. Also, we are launching our fighters and corvettes. And yes, you remember back at the beginning of the video I'll let the last cutscene play out, just as a refresher what was happening. In essence, the beast we have tangled with in the last videos is some kind of biomechanical organism, like as a cell, a self-moving cell like an amoeba for example, but it also works like a virus. It infiltrates other cells and turns organic matter like human for example into some sort of organic biomechanical sludge connected to the machines around it, and then it essentially, after it turned the crew members of a ship into some sort of giant brain, it takes over the ship and it can infiltrate, of course, the machines too, and takes them over from the inside. Essentially, it turns a heavy cruiser full of people into some sort of giant, highly intelligent animal or something. You know what I mean. So this time I'm saving occasionally because I really don't want to play a mission again from the very beginning just because I did something stupid near the end. Here we have our refinery ship, slowly on its way closer to the worker ships. Looks kind of nice actually. So yeah, the sensor blip is still calling to us. As a reminder, in case you have forgotten, since my last video was 2 months ago, the blue screen is our active sensor net. Everything entering this blue sphere of a ship or command ship is something we can actually see, and if it's an enemy it's red, if it's brown it's resources, shades of green our own units, and light blue is for allied units, and that weird cage around is our passive sensor net. We can remember stuff that we have seen there, and we can see enemy units and things over inside, but we can't actually track their movements accurately. We only know they're getting closer if they finally enter our blue spheres. And sometimes, as you see, with that blip outside our passive sensor range, we get readings from far off, mostly scripted, so we aren't flying blind on a mission and now there's something important and we better get over there, which is kind of nice, since as you see, even with 8 times the speed, sometimes it's take a while to travel through the gigantic maps. And they're 3-dimensional. They're kind of flattened out, of course, but there's still a lot of difference between planes. Sometimes something you just search for is surprisingly deep under you or high above you, and well, you have to adjust for that kind of thinking. Luckily, the AI tends to just beeline for you straight ahead, so you can often do some funny tricks by simply moving your ships above or below them and then striking from there. It's kind of funny, always funny to see the AI trying to react to this, but if your only real strategy is an assault wolf for all units you have, then this doesn't work out as planned. Fun fact, the sphere formation is something I almost never use because of this. Cutscene.
Das sind infizierte Schiffe da draußen. An alle Schiffe, die Bestienflotte angreifen und vernichten. Wir müssen den Bentusi so gut wie möglich helfen.
Achtung, Bentusi-Handelsposten. Sie werden nicht von normalen Piratenschiffen angegriffen. Lassen Sie sie nicht zu nahe herankommen.
Es spielt keine Rolle, wer das ist. Nur Wahnsinnige würden die Freien angreifen. Feindliche Schiffe werden leider zerstört.
And the action is on. Luckily we have already taken over all resources, so we can send over a few units to help. The Bentusi ship doesn't actually need much of our help. It's incredibly hard to destroy, and its super energy beam weapons just lay waste to entire squadrons of enemy fighters and corvettes if they hit. Sometimes they don't, but if that salvo of several beams hits, then, well, then an entire squadron is just gone. So, the ancient Bentusi can fight, and like the Bentusi just told us in a nice, calm voice, they will destroy everyone attacking them with extreme prejudice, because they are enemy ships and those have to be destroyed, sadly. Well, okay, it was more polite and calm. And oh god, I have babbled long enough for the next cutscene to happen.
Wir sind anscheinend geortet worden.
Now the beast has found us and attacks us too. The funny thing is, and something I forgot for a few minutes here, this attack on our command ship is actually just a diversion. The real action is gonna be here, around the Bentusi. Now the funny thing is, in some RTS games it's normally the opposite. When you're supposed to help some weird ally, then it's a common cliché that you're supposed to send only a few token units to help them, but they will be unavoidably destroyed or something equally ludicrous, and then the real action begins somewhere else. This case, however, nope, the Bentusi are really as important as the game wants to tell you. Of course, a little spoiler, you can't save them anyway. But back to the game. This attack coming for us can be defeated quite easily, but even though it at least looks hairy, and I guess you normally only notice it's a diversion after you destroyed the last ship, and then you suddenly notice there are no reinforcements coming. And then you go, oh shit, I better go help the Bentusi. Of course, since we are playing on normal, not on easy, we still have to carefully, occasionally look at the Bentusi ship to prevent it from going up in flames if we are too slow on our uptake here. Now in terms of story, what's happening here is now, after last time we had to turn tail and run as fast as possible because the enemy was simply too strong to defeat, and now, since we are just a bunch of miners with delusions of grandeur, we tried to reach the Bentusi to ask for help. Sadly, however, the beast, after having taken over so many of our ships, knows exactly where the Bentusi are and what they are, and that they are important. So, of course, the beast is here too. It's kind of nice from the game to not just let the beast rampage around mindlessly like you would expect. Instead, the story makes it clear that whatever the beast is, it's capable of making good strategical decisions. It's a good planner. Nice thing you see are the corrective jets on the refinery ship. Every time it tries to move in another direction, it uses those side jets to stop moving. A nice little detail. Here we are blowing up ships again, and luckily we still have all of our corvettes, because the beast ships attacking here are concentrating only on the Bentusi. Something we can really abuse here. And here you see what I am talking about. In mere moments, the entire squadron is reduced to 2 or 3 units we can easily take out. Yeah, we already destroyed the first wave of enemies attacking us, but as you can see now, the enemy has also infected frigates. Because of this, all our enemies in this mission are infected ships. This also means we can't actually use our workers to take them over. Too bad, really. We could have used a few frigates at this point, because we still can't build any capital ships of our own. Our largest ships are still corvettes. Nice, the Bentusi ship is still laying waste to its attackers, but now, as you can see, infected iron frigates are getting closer to the Bentusi ship too.
Leitstelle.
Here of course we can abuse the AI again, because the small ships will prioritize our command ship if it's close enough. So our fighters can actually survive longer than normal. Of course our fighters also have missiles, and if you have a bunch of fighters with missiles, not freighters, sorry, then this means essentially you can lay waste to every capital ship you see as long as it's not too large. Especially frigates are incredibly vulnerable to a fighter strike like that, as you will see now. Now our fighters come closer and launch missiles. And 20 missiles later the frigate blows up. One hit, one kill. Of course, the problem is we don't have any missiles now, but just one iron frigate is not that much of a threat. Our command ship is hardy and can take some hits. Even several frigates firing in unison would take a while to burn through. One is essentially harmless. Especially since I have 6 worker frigates, worker ships, not really frigates, to heal if I want to. Here I'm now giving the order to protect the ship, just in case I forgot to go back fast enough. That's another thing Homeworld Cataclysm teaches you. You have not only be careful with your resources, because you can't really rebuild your units indefinitely. You also have to be careful to juggle several different battle sides. Essentially, one map in Cataclysm is like a huge campaign setting, and you have different battles going on different parts of the map at the same time. Later on, when there isn't a fucking ship you have to protect the entire time, you can make it easier on you by just sending a huge fleet to some target where you know there is an important ship, carrier or something of the enemy, and destroy it with all units and overwhelming firepower by just retaining barely enough to defend against attacking waves of the other important ships, and then you can systematically clear the map one enemy fleet after another. But we're still pretty early in the game, and now I have to repair and rearm our fighters. But generally fighters are pretty cheap, and even if you lose all of them, as long as they got off their missiles and destroyed at least one frigate, you're practically even. If you can reload one time and destroy a second frigate, you're actually winning resource-wise. Well, still have to be careful, of course, on maps where there is not very much in terms of resources. And wow, okay, 2 iron frigates and 3 squadrons and even more reinforcements coming. Yeah, I guess it's time we'll try to do something about this. So I sent my corvettes to the frigates and still abuse the enemy AI, concentrating on the Bentusi, because frigates are ludicrously vulnerable against fighter attacks like this, especially enemy frigates. This is, funnily enough, another reason why I'm not really keen on taking over those frigates, because we get actually better ones. But that's still at least one mission off. this mission is all about learning how to coordinate fleet-scale fights, how to protect larger capital units and stuff like that. Even the research we are getting later is built up on this. And here the Bentusi concentrate fire on the frigate. And here you see what kind of punishment even a frigate can take over. It took several full seconds of all this giant mega rays firing to blow it up. But on the other hand, with one frigate destroyed immediately by a missile launch and the second blown up by the Bentusi, we essentially halved the enemy firepower in mere seconds. Now, of course... Oh, cutscene again. Oh, reinforcements for us!
Es ist eines unserer Schiffe.
Hier Kitzmann-Trägerschiff Karl Stoh. Wir rufen das Bentusi-Schiff. Wir haben Ihren Notruf empfangen.
Karl Stoh, stopp. Das sind keine, wiederhole, keine Piratenschiffe. Zerstören Sie sie aus größtmöglicher Entfernung.
Die Karl Stoh ist sich über die Natur der Bestie nicht im Klaren. Beschützen Sie sie um jeden Preis.
Greife jetzt an!
Now we're actually getting real soldiers to help us out. Sadly, those soldiers have no idea what they're dealing with, so we have to protect them too. Not right now, of course. That's actually misleading. We still have to concentrate on the Bentusi, because what is coming to help us is an entire small fleet, including a carrier. More than enough to deal with the small fry here, especially since none of the units here can infect others. This gets important pretty soon. And after all this time, the Bentusi still have about half their health. As I said, incredibly hard to destroy. Ah yes, I think that's two rays firing at the frigate at the same time. Nice catch. So, as I said, the attack on our command ship is already over and it was just a diversion. After the last unit blows up, nothing will attack us anymore from that direction. So, now I'm launching my fighters again, freshly loaded with new missiles, and I'm building a few of those just in case. They can't find, remember, but they are cheap flying bombs, which sometimes is useful. Especially against beast ships, and in the early game where you can't really protect your own ships against infection, those little stealthy ships are sometimes worth their money. It's better than losing your own squadrons over and over through an infection ray. Because, and that's the funny thing, as long as the enemy doesn't know that there are any of your units, he won't launch an infection ray, and as long as no infection is happening, your stealth ships are completely safe. Here, my first worker ships arrive to help out. Of course, now I'm noticing 3 aren't quite enough still, since the Bentusi health is still shrinking. So I sent another 3 ships to help out. 6 ships repairing with their weird nanomachine technology or whatever that is supposed to be are quite effective at holding it alive. Of course, the problem is, we remember in the last mission the Beast took over a Imperial heavy cruiser, and that Imperial heavy cruiser is now here too. Well, since we have no ship larger than a cruiser, I guess we must just hope the Bentusi can blast it apart with their super energy beam rays. This is of course something you would only think if you had never played this mission before, everyone else already sighs sadly because they knew what is about to happen soon. Nice, those three-dimensional formation, 4 ships around the heavy cruiser, 1 below, 1 above. Stuff like this really highlights the three-dimensionality of the game. Yeah, that's a mess of units, ours, Elliot ones.
Roger, Floco.
This nice scene would make a good screenshot. Now I'm seeing actually that formation has 6 ships on every cardinal point in a 3-dimensional sphere. And now the actual battle has started. The heavy cruiser and other heavy units have arrived. 3 more iron frigates. 1 already has opened those cooling thingies, flanges, whatever. Because remember, those weird pirate iron frigates are actually a lot weirder than ours. Normal iron frigates can just shoot and something, but the pirate ones need those cooling flanges. But I think if I remember right, they actually make the iron beams a bit more powerful, since the additional cooling allows them to overload the systems or something like that. Regardless, it makes them even more vulnerable than normal frigates. Oh, I should remember to save at this point here. What should I name this? 7th mission, Benthusi. Good enough. So, let's see what happens if we fight to the bitter end to protect the Benthusi. Oh, where was I? Ah yes, iron frigates are normally quite vulnerable when they're firing, since they have their main weapon out in front. Pirate iron frigates are even worse, because they have to deploy those cooling flanges first before they can fire. And then on the other hand are the iron frigates re-gauge later, who are quite the opposite of the pirates, who have more powerful beams for being even more vulnerable. Ours are instead the opposite, they have slightly less powerful beams and oh shit.
Hier stimmt etwas nicht. Ein Wesen. Wir spüren seinen Hunger. Keine junge Rasse. Nicht frei. Etwas anderes, etwas Älteres. Etwas von draußen. Es zerrt an uns, verändert das Lied, verschlingt die Erinnerung, setzt unseren Körper gegen uns ein, macht uns unfrei. Das darf nicht geschehen. Wir werden niemals unfrei sein.
Well, that was it. We have lost. Just a note, at this point the game hangs up and doesn't do anything, but after a click it restarts again. Wait, we still have mission?
Sie haben sich lieber selbst zerstört, als zu diesem Ding zu werden. Wenigstens können wir dafür sorgen, dass sie sich nicht umsonst geopfert haben. Zerstören Sie die restlichen infizierten Schiffe.
Yes, as it turns out, this was scripted. If we couldn't actually protect them, we just had to hold them alive to get them infected. Sadly, the Benthusi exploded so violently they took out the entire fleet, including ours, and the fleet of our allies. So now we have a second ship we have to protect, a ship even more vulnerable. So this won't go. Let's retry this again. So now you know what is going to happen. And since we really don't want to lose our 6 worker ships and our assorted mess of small ships, we instead retreat as far enough away as possible to not get blown up. Let's just hope the worker ships can get far away enough. So, the Bentusi called the beast unfree, and it noted the infection was stealing their memories and turning their bodies against them, and they didn't want to become unfree, so they killed themselves. Something which will happen again. Now.
Hier stimmt etwas nicht. Ein Wesen. Wir spüren seinen Hunger. Keine junge Rasse. Nicht frei. Etwas anderes, etwas Älteres.
They also think the beasts are something incredibly old. Which, of course, is kind of disturbing, considering the Bentusi themselves are an incredibly old and ancient race. If they are calling something old, then it's indeed pretty damn old. And again, the game hangs until I click left. Oh, now I remember, I tried see if the game just had something else. Nope, it just hang until I clicked. Now we have to protect the Kaltstol and destroy the fleet. Now it's actually worse, because the Bentusi ship was relatively easy to protect since it was incredibly hard to destroy and could lay waste to entire fleets. Now we have to protect the almost wrecked and destroyed carrier Kaltstol. And there are still a lot of enemy ships. All the reinforcements that are still coming from north. If I go... Oh, okay, now it's east. Shit, I should stop turning the map around so much. Well, from beyond the point where the heavy cruiser came from, let's call it that. Now we are sending units to hopefully destroy the heavy cruiser. The heavy cruiser should be quite damaged right now. So, if we are lucky, we can take it out before it can infect our ships again.
Jawohl, Floko, sind unterwegs. Vario-Jäger bereit.
Now my Vario fighters are finally finished. And I'm ordering them into formation while they're flying.
Unsere Ingenieure glauben, sie können unsere Nachschubkapazitäten mit Hilfe von Modulen erweitern. Sie stehen bereit, um ein entsprechendes Forschungsprojekt anzugehen. Außerdem haben sie ein erweitertes Technikmodul entwickelt, mit dessen Hilfe sie die Forschung für modernere Schiffe vorantreiben können.
Befehl lautet, Klauenformation einnehmen.
So, our mining engineers have done something smart and have thought about all the problems we have with dealing with just 100 points worth of ships, which is not that much. As you can see, it's barely enough for 2 squadrons. And oh shit, yeah, the Imperial heavy cruiser has a bit better firing arc than a common iron frigate. And I think I've forgotten that I don't actually have any missiles left. So, the important thing to remember is now we can actually research something again. Some kind of mini technology to get better ships later on. Especially it's just a research to, ooh, we never thought about this, but better armed ships, larger ships with more weapons, that's actually quite a nice idea. Also, we can now build modules to better support our ships. I guess something like crew maintenance modules and modules with whatever is necessary to support ships, I suppose. I'm not a naval officer. I'm just going with it. Now our 6 ships are back into action, and I'm sending them through the Karl Stoll because the Karl Stoll is a lot easier to destroy. First off, I start researching support systems. So back to the Karl Stoll. Karl Stoll is a lot easier to destroy than the giant armored tank that was. Ah yes, the new module should also be built to research better ships later on. And because it's easier destroyed, it also needs our 6 worker ships healing it pretty badly. And hey, attack! Every bit of damage helps. At this point I think I started to notice that I have underestimated what a heavy cruiser can do even if damaged, because it's actually not that damaged. It can still move and fight practically unimpeded. It just has a bit of flames coming out of it. Ooh, shit. This doesn't this doesn't bode well, really. Looks we have waited for too long. Yeah, of course I try to save the ships after they are all lost. That is the smart thing to do here, really. As you can see, it's damaged, it's out of control, but it's not that damaged, sadly. Now all of our pilots are dead and the enemy has a squadron more. Well, that didn't work as I planned. Luckily I had a second plan in reserve, and now I need those Vario fighters, so I order them to impersonate enemy ships and enemy Vassal fighters, or acolytes as they are called in not German. Luckily, still no one thinks to attack the worker ships, so we can hold the Karl Stoll alive and deal with our own bloody stupidity.
Leitstelle.
Luckily our command ship is still safe, but I keep forgetting to build support modules. Also I keep forgetting to build ram frigates. Ram frigates are essentially just there to shove other people aside, but it's sometimes quite useful. And now you see what happens if you send 9 stealth Vario fighters to attack a single heavy cruiser. They all blow up. And then you can build 10 more, and if your enemy keeps building heavy cruisers to stop them, then he'll lose. Luckily though, in this mission there is only 1 heavy cruiser, well, not anymore, so now we can rebuild our fleet and then deal with all this small fry. And yes, we are in a kind of a bad position thanks to me throwing away our fighters, because those fighters would have been useful right about now. Instead, of course, they are attacking us instead. Well, that's in the past now, but since I don't want to reload this mission again, I guess I have to deal with this until the bitter end. So, what can we rebuild now? Of course, a few corvettes. Six for now. And of course I forget to build support. Oh, finally I remember. First I'm building just one to see how much that is.
Yeah.
And oh boy, now we're in trouble. I guess I see you next time. And we'll see how we can drag this shit out of the fan without accidentally exploding. Oh god, that was bad. Well, that was it. Until next time then. Libluini. First repairing this one, yes. But until next time. Goodbye.